following morning, I wake up thinking that most of my time is going to be spent trying to avoid Shizune and Misha. Yeah, like is Misha now gonna brag to Shizune or something? Cause, what happened last evening still makes me feel uneasy. I thought that sleeping on it would help alleviate that feeling. I feel like an idiot for believing it would be that easy. I think about whether or not Misha might feel the same way. If so, she probably won't show up to school today. I'd consider doing the same, but it would be pretty suspicious, and staying inside all day in fear doesn't appeal to me. It never really has. The same can definitely not ever be said about Kenji, because that's the whole reason why he stays inside all the time. Fear. Like I thought, Misha isn't in class this morning. Shizune is, but today is a busier day than most, so she gives her all concentrating on her classwork, and that means there's little idle time for her to start up a conversation with me. It's strange that I should be running from the thought of having to talk to Shizune, after spending so much time trying to do just that, but I can't think of any other way I should feel. I had sex with her best friend. Yeah, that'll definitely do a damper on your friendship or relationship, right? Because they're boyfriend and girlfriend, right? That I feel like that's actually something I've kind of forgotten. I mean, it's been a little bit of a while, but still, that's something I definitely should not have forgotten. But their relationship at the beginning, like besides them doing it on that chair, besides that, I feel like their relationship isn't really developed at such a point where you would really call them, oh, they're really boyfriend and girlfriend, because they haven't really done. Like, I feel like they haven't even done any of the almost basic stuff, you know? Like, I mean, obviously every single relationship doesn't have like, you know, a check, a list where you just have to check and then you go in that specific order. Like, first you hold hands, then you kiss, then you go on a date somewhere between that probably, and then you go to the movies and then blah blah blah. And you know, somewhere down the line on like the 12th or something, that's where sex is probably, maybe, depending on the persons and people involved. But still, you know, it's sort of like this progression, but it feels like, you know, theirs was a little bit weirder and they had sex almost at like number 2. When they haven't even done simple stuff like, I guess they haven't really been on like a real date yet with each other alone, I think, unless I've forgotten. But yeah, that's my crappy memory as usual. But you know what I mean, right? It just kind of feels like the rest of their relationship hasn't really caught up to the point where they've physically connected with each other when they had, you know, when they did the hokey pokey on the chair. So yeah. If I feel this way about it, I wonder how Misha must feel. Just as regretful? When she came on to me, she was more depressed than sexy to start with. Yeah, because that whole exchange that they had definitely didn't feel sexy at all. I can only imagine how much worse it would be now. Thinking about it like that, I want to see her again, but only half-heartedly. The other half of me is still terrified, even though I hate to use that word. It makes me feel ashamed, but I'm sure it's the only way to describe myself right now. It's not a good feeling. I spend the next couple periods in the library, not in the mood to sit in classes for the rest of the day, but unwilling to walk back to the dorms. Uh-oh, there she is. She does not look happy. While I'm lazily flipping through the pages of an uninteresting historical fiction novel, Shizune drops herself into the chair across from me, pouting. I mean, she doesn't know, right? She can't know. I think it's sort of pointless to come to school and then skip every class. But isn't she doing the same thing right now, or our class is over? Sorry. At least tell everyone that you're sick. I'm just not feeling it today. Yesterday I was fine though. Tomorrow I'll probably be fine. Taking a sick day in the middle of the week is just too suspicious. That 24-hour flu thing, or whatever, won't fly. It's not suspicious. It is. I turn back to my book, but Shizune gently pulls it down, in contrast with her expression, which straddles the line between concern and anger. I feel like the fact that Hisao keeps saying suspicious, it's suspicious, is, you know, normally in this situation you want to keep suspicion away from you, but the fact that he's saying it is suspicious actually draws suspicion from Shizune now, I feel. Is something wrong? See, if he hadn't said those things, then she probably wouldn't have really poked or, you know, asked any further. What? Is something bothering you? Because you're acting a little suspicious today, in a different way, exactly. If there is, just tell me, or I'll be mad. I'm not good at reading people. Uh-oh. Well, if she's already mad, or if she's gonna be mad if we don't tell her, this is a lose-lose situation, because if we tell her, she's gonna be fucking pissed off, I imagine. And if we don't tell her, she's gonna be mad. So, you know, it's lose-lose. Unless we want her to be mad, and it's win-win, but why would we want her to be mad? What a ridiculous thing to say, after picking up my mood so easily. She is only half kidding, but there is some truth in it. After all, she can't hear her tone, or she can't hear tone, and has to rely on reading to communicate with others. It's as if you could only ever have conversations with someone through text messages. That has to mess with you in some way. It's probably why she stares so intently at people, in order to gauge their reaction. Or maybe it's why she pushes people so hard, to get them to react. That is actually a very interesting thing, I feel, because, you know, sometimes people actually express themselves with with noises sometimes, you know, like or like whoo, you know, but those are things that she cannot pick up on. So she actually has to pick up different things, which is mainly just, you know, what do you call it? Facial expressions, I guess. But you know, if you do a facial expression where you're like or like whoo, you know, whoo is like you're relieved, is like you're tired, like fuck this shit, like exhausted, something along those lines, you know. But that doesn't really give off much of a facial expression, so for her it can be rather hard to just read the situation correctly and then, you know, reply appropriately and stuff like that. So yeah, she has to basically find a different way to try and work around that, because that all comes with the disability of being deaf, right? I've thought about it before, but it's too hard to say for sure what Shizune's exact motivations are for anything. So I wonder how much of that was a joke. Sometimes it's easy to tell. This time it isn't. Assuming it wasn't a joke, I can't tell her anyway, because it's sign language. There's enough time to collect myself and lie effectively. Nothing. Uh-oh, she mad. She mad. That's the face of Shizune being mad. I've just been thinking a lot about the student council's future lately. I believe Misha is doing the same. Well, in her own way. Yep, in her own way indeed. So am I, but she isn't here today. I wish she would have let me know something, because I might need her help later today. Yours too, unless you're busy. I'm not. Thank you. I feel like I'm losing a lot of people close to me lately. Oh, that makes me feel sad, her saying that, because, you know, it's almost like she's not even realizing what is going on. It kind of feels like that. Okay, maybe not realize. Okay, maybe it's not that she doesn't realize it, but it's like maybe she does realize it a little bit, but she's like maybe kind of, you know, ignoring it or trying to not acknowledge it, because it's like, they would never do that or something along those lines. But I don't know. It just makes me feel sad hearing her say this, because she doesn't have a lot of people that she's close with to begin with, right? So, and for her to then have the feeling that she's losing both Misha and Hisao, which are basically the only two people, at least here. Yeah, dang. That actually hits me. I can't think of a good way to respond to that. Something reassuring and confident, telling her not to worry. I'm here for you. I'm not one of those people, but you are though. Look what you did behind her back. Then who is? And it seems so forced. I manage a wave of my hand that seems extremely callous as soon as I do it. You shouldn't feel that way. I might just be a little sick. Not enough to go through the trouble of making it official. It's just easier for me this way. It's the wrong way. I've heard the hard way and the right way are usually the same thing, so it's not a big stretch to say that the opposite is true. Well, fine. If you want to say you are alright, that's good enough for me. Wait! You asked me, so I'm turning it around. Is everything okay with you? Yes. She signs it without a moment's hesitation. After that, Shizune waits to see if I'm going to follow up on it. That means that we should. If she's waiting for you to follow up on it, that means you should. I don't. And she leaves. I feel like an idiot for not going further, even though I think it's better that I didn't. I've been in the library for quite a while, and decide to go up to the roof for a change of pace. A fresh breeze hits me the second I open the door. This is really my favorite area of the school, I think. Then I see that I'm not the only one here. I can see a girl with bubblegum pink hair in front of me. There she is. Her back is to me, but I don't have to see her face to know who it is. I'm sure Misha is the only person in the world with hair like that. I get the feeling that I've stumbled on her at a bad moment. She obviously wants to be alone, and I wonder if she hasn't noticed my presence. If so, I'll leave right now. But she has, and turns to face me. Oh, Hee-chan! I thought someone was behind me, but I didn't think it was going to be you. This time, you surprised me. God dang it, she looks sad too. It just feels like, this whole having sex with her thing, not only that part, just comforting her, choosing her over Shizune, just feels like it's actually going to leave or end up making everyone sad, and no one is going to be happy at the end of this, I feel. Cause, it feels like the only reason I feel like I don't even exactly know why what happened earlier, why that exactly happened. Like, we can make an estimated guess about, that it's because they both like Hisao, but, it's still a guess at the end of the day. And I've never really felt, and it sucks to break a friendship up over that, but I just don't know. I feel so lost. It just doesn't feel happy to me. I mean, this is supposed to be a bad ending, but if you look at it from this side, right? If a bad ending for Shizune's route is supposed to be the bad ending in that route, then because you choose Misha, it's supposed to be, in that sense, also the good ending for Misha then, right? I know there's not a Misha route, but you know what I mean. Because you're picking the other girl over Shizune, that other girl should at least be happier with the whole situation and how things turned out, right? But it feels like it just hasn't. If she's referring to her habit of sneaking up behind me and asking me to guess who it is, I've never been surprised by that. I'm surprised too, but this is good. That's something I wanted to talk to you about anyway. Not that. What's going on between you and Shizune? She won't tell me, so I'm asking you. Alright, here we go. We gotta find out. Because you're easier to get an answer out of, since the same sign language that gives me the leeway to lie to her gives her a cushion against my questions, so that she can more easily brush them off. When she hesitates, I push her harder. Give me an honest answer, please. It's complicated, Hishan. It's because of something that happened a long time ago. I thought I could just forget about it, but it's really hard. So that and graduation coming up made me want to spend more time with Shi-chan. But Shi-chan is always so busy now. So we've been fighting, but I'm tired of it now. Because I like Shi-chan in a like way. So do I. No. I know you like her, Hee-chan. I mean that I like Shi-chan in the same. Oh, wow. Okay, fuck. I never saw this coming. What? So is that it? Is it that we're actually both fighting? But Why the fuck do we... What? What? You cannot see, but I'm holding my hair, almost ripping it out of my head. Like, what? Let me get this straight, okay? Misha likes Shichan, so in that sense, we both like Shizune, right? What was that whole move about her? Do you like me and that stuff then, right? What was that about? I don't understand that at all. Was she just trying to figure out like, oh, Shizune picked Hichan over me. I want to know what it feels like to be Hichan. Or that's like a way of maybe she is so obsessed with Hichan that she's just like, oh well, if Hichan is with Hichan and I can be with Hichan too, then indirectly that means I can be with Hichan too. Something along those lines. I don't know. I mean, we don't know. I mean, obviously saying that she's obsessed with her is probably another exaggeration, but I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out why exactly she ended up having sex with Hisao if she is really interested in Shizune. What the fuck? I want her to be my girlfriend. And this is the weirdest part of all, that we were actually competing with Misha over Shizune in that sense, right? She was our competition. And maybe she just wanted to know what the competition was like. How good is the competition, huh? Misha closes her eyes, like a condemned criminal confessing the last of their sins in front of the executioner. It only makes it harder for me to think of a response, and I know I have to give one. I see. I never knew. That's the thing. I feel like throughout this entire route, like I haven't, unfortunately, unlike most of the other routes, which I play like continuously, here I've had several pauses and gaps in between of playing time, you know, like for example, last time I played this was about 2-3 weeks ago, so it doesn't feel as, you know, one whole as it perhaps does with the other routes. But if I remember correctly, I feel like I've never really had the feeling that, you know, Misha was attracted or liked Shizune. You could always tell she was very happy, but that's how she always was. She was very happy around Shizune, but again, similarly, that's always how she always was with everyone. So I really haven't felt like she's given off signals or anything like that to Shizune, you know? Now, obviously, not every single person does that whenever they like someone, so that doesn't, you can't make a conclusion from that's not that she, that's why we never figured out why she didn't like her, or, you know, fuck, what am I even saying? The thing I'm saying, right, just from that alone doesn't mean that we could have known or something like that, but still, I mean, you know, sometimes you like a person and you just really keep that, the deepest, darkest secrets, and you don't let anyone know about it. So this could be one of those things. It definitely feels like it, but I'm just trying to think if there was any sort of situation, any moment where we could have possibly known about this and perhaps somehow have seen it coming. Because to me, I can't think of any. I don't know if you guys can think of any, because I'm extremely blindsided by this, you know, events unfolding before us. I did not see this coming at all.
I didn't really want to come to this school, Hichan, but it sounded interesting. And even if everyone hated me, at least it felt like they would leave me alone. I was learning sign language, but wasn't very good at it.
Why would everyone hate her, though?
Hichan was trying to get people to join the student council because it was only her and Lily. Then she came up to me. I couldn't understand her at all. But Hichan wouldn't use her pen and paper. She knew that I was taking sign language classes. I was exposed quickly. I didn't know any. That only made her try harder. And I hated Hichan and thought she was making fun of me.
Well, but that's not what she was doing, right? She was just pushing her.
That wasn't the reason, though. So, I slowly fell in love with Hichan, and I told her that I loved her.
Oh, okay. So she has told Shizune about it. She has confessed to Shizune before. That's actually very commendable, that despite the fact that, you know, because what seems to have happened is that Misha confessed to Shizune. Shizune didn't, she didn't have similar feelings, so they're not together. But they still seem like really, really good friends. Like normally, if one person, if you're really good friends with a person and you actually fall in love with that person and you confess, there's always that scared feeling inside of you, like, oh shit, if I confess and she doesn't feel the same way about me, you could be losing your friendship over that, right? But I feel like that awkwardness, that's almost not 100% to happen, but that's very likely to happen after a situation like this where you confess and she doesn't feel the same way. That awkwardness it felt like it wasn't there. Like we could not know this at all. I feel just every single occasion where Misha and Shizune were together, it just felt there wasn't like this awkwardness between them either. So it's kind of amazing how they managed to still keep their friendship going despite knowing this fact. And that's another thing, like normally if you confess to a person, I mean, I know you really value the friendship that you have with each other, right? You have to. But something inside of you, if you confess to a person and that person doesn't feel the same way, you kind of want to not be around that person anymore, right? Because it's like, that part of you probably was friends with her in the first place because, well, okay, it doesn't have to be that way because things can just develop over time after you've already been friends for a long time, but still, I feel like you're kind of how most of the time would be, you become friends with her in the hope of something more developing later on, right? And then knowing that is basically not gonna happen at all for Misha, I don't know, a lot of people would just shy away from that person after this happening, but that doesn't seem to have happened at all. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading way too much into this as I usually do.
It was in the student council room, when it was just the two of us. I had these fantasies of Shi-chan staying alone in the office, trying to put everything together all by herself. It seemed so lonely to me, and so sad. I think I wanted it to be that way.
Oh god. Look at Misha even has she hasn't dyed her hair here pink yet.
That way, I could be there for Shi-chan, and maybe Shi-chan would like me. Even though there was no reason for me to believe it, I did it anyway. I wanted it to be true, so I was okay with letting myself believe it, even though I think I knew. That day was really, really beautiful too, Hee-chan. We're done with everything, and I was looking out through the window. Even through the window, the light was so warm. I wanted to stay like that forever, next to Shi-chan. But then I looked at Shi-chan, and she had her back to the window and was still working on something, blocking out the rest of the world. The light was on. It was on her shoulders, like when I would put a blanket on my shoulders as a kid.
Misha stops for a second, as if trying to hold on to the image of Shizune in her mind.
Shi-chan looked... It was like Shi-chan looked in a way that made me want to be with her, but it felt like it would be hard for that to happen. That was a really long time ago. My hair was different back then too. A little messy. I cut it because Shizune was always talking about it. Anyway, I told her right then and there. I confessed.
Oh god.
I was rejected. So, I thought that was it, Shi-chan. But Shi-chan was always trying to find me, and I hated Shi-chan again for it. And when I asked her why she was doing it, it was because I was her friend.
Oh, the thing that, kind of what I described before, though, right, earlier, with, kind of wanting to avoid the person after being rejected, it's something that kind of scenario is more likely to happen when you're still, when the wound is still fresh after it's happened. But from what Misha has told, when she confessed, that's actually a long time ago, like a couple of years ago even. Like in the beginning of when it just started, she just came here to the school, right? That's probably 2 years ago or something like that, I think. But yeah. So after that they've developed like more of a friendship, I guess. And I guess it's just, I don't know, it's just like Misha just probably cared so much about Shizune that even knowing that she can't be together with Shizune in the way that she wants it to be, it is still just good enough for her to just be good friends with her, I guess. And also the fact that Shi-chan, despite Misha confessing to her and Shizune not feeling the same way, she didn't let go of her as a friend, right? And maybe that's something that Misha really valued as well. Her cheeks have a hint of red in them. I wonder how much experience she has had with crying, that she can keep herself from doing it so well. If she didn't pause to wipe her eyes, I might have never noticed.
Having Shi-chan say that made me happy, but also sad. Even though she never meant to hurt me, it still hurts. Even now. Shi-chan has a way of manipulating people, Hei-chan. Sometimes she wants to, and sometimes she doesn't really, but it happens anyway. And sometimes I'm just not sure exactly which one it is, and I feel doubt. I just wish that Shi-chan liked me instead of you. It made me wonder if I was starting to hate you and Shi-chan. Just a little. I didn't like that.
So, you were thinking, maybe it would be better if I weren't here at all. She looks confused. The thought has crossed her mind. I mean, definitely, right? The thought definitely crossed her mind because we're the new guy. Like, you know, oh, it was all fine before Hisao came along. Or at least good enough for her. But now she feels like, that's the thing, right? It's like, the moment Hisao came into the picture and Hisao actually got together with Shizune, it's like Misha, even though Misha never really had Shizune to herself, it still felt to her like she lost Shizune to Hisao. So, you know, she gets less Shizune time, in a sense. And that's probably, yes, she definitely didn't like that, I can imagine. If you like a person, and that person suddenly spends more time with another person, you're like, whoa, what the fuck? I don't like this.
That's not it, Hei-chan. I thought about it a lot these last few days, and I don't want to hate anyone, you or Shi-chan. It's so stupid that I ever felt like that. Isn't it, Hei-chan? I don't want to think about that kind of stuff ever again. And missing people and being apart from them, I'm tired of it. And I don't want to think about it anymore. I already did though. So, I'm still really the worst kind of person. I wasn't thinking that it would be better if Hei-chan would never have come to this school. I was thinking, wouldn't it be better if I just died?
Oh god, this actually briefly, very, very briefly crossed my mind. Because remember that scene when she was sitting? This was actually, well, I think it was actually the last video before the 3 weeks, 2 weeks. But when she was sitting like sad on the roof as well, I mean, just caught a glimpse of her. It's just like, I feel like, you know, she's been putting up this act of acting really, really happy, while in the inside definitely being not happy and quite far away from that. So that's kind of a sadness that can turn into almost, I don't know, depression or something along those lines. But just if you carry a sadness with that for you for so long, right? It's kind of, it's not weird to think that that person has kind of negative thoughts about a lot of other things as well. I don't know, I'm just trying to approach this subject carefully, you know, because it's not something that's quite easy to approach. But when you have like a lot of negative thoughts about, I don't know, if you just don't feel like you're in a good place at all, you know, you start to blame yourself probably more. It depends on the person. It always does, depends on the person, you know, but still, you start to blame yourself more than just the things around you, and then you can eventually come to really, really, really bad thoughts, such as suicidal thoughts like this. And god dang it, That's just so sad to hear. Cause you don't want anyone to go through that, really. Cause fuck. Damn.
After all, I've even done something really terrible now. Unforgivably terrible.
Misha presses herself harder against the fence at her back, as if hoping to slip right through it. No, I'll save you. Don't be stupid! I'm surprised by the tone of my voice. Sorry. I realized I hate it when I'm left feeling regretful over anything. Even so, it's impossible for me to not end up regretting something. Yesterday, I did a stupid thing. It's probably part of the reason why I'm here right now, so I could figure out if I could maybe make it right. Somehow. Do you ever feel that way? You said you've done some terrible things. You can try fixing them.
Hee-chan, isn't that...
I know that she's thinking that I'm saying this more for me than for her. No, it's not. I just think that killing herself is the biggest regret a person could end up with.
Hee-chan, you're so dramatic.
Whether she was serious, I'll never know. I don't try to find out, as she lets out a sigh and closes her eyes as if going to sleep. I feel that the dangerous mood I was picking up from her has passed. The door behind us opens. The sound only barely able to be heard over the ambient breeze. It's gotta be Shizune. There she is. I've been looking everywhere for you two. Is this some secret meeting? She walks over to us, leaning against the fence next to Misha, as if she really needs to stop and catch her breath before pushing herself off it and continuing. I'm bored sitting in the student council room every day now, without either of you ever coming by. Taking some time off is fine, but this is just too much. Normally, Misha and I would be jokingly making excuses for ourselves at this point. This time, there's only silence. Shizune, always expecting resistance, is thrown off balance by the lack of it. A few seconds pass in uneasy silence, which Shizune breaks with an ear-shattering snap of her fingers, smiling as if to say, Eureka! Let's go do something together. Uh-oh. Like what? Anything. We should go to the student council room first, and then figure it out from there. That seems like a trick to get us to do the work instead. Very funny. Is it true though? It's not a trick. I promise. It will be something fun. Misha contrasts a genial smile on Shizune's face with a lonely expression of her own. If Misha is really jealous of me for stealing Shizune away from her, then it'd only make it worse if all three of us were together. I imagine it'd be like rubbing salt in an open wound, so I get the idea to let them spend time together. I'm not so idealistic that I think a single afternoon to themselves will solve everything, but it might help. It seems like the better option than going with them, because my presence definitely wouldn't help at all. You two can go have fun then. I'm going to go to bed early. Are you sure? It's barely past lunch. Perfect time to take a nap. I told you, I don't feel too good today. I think I'm coming down with something. I thought you said excuses like that won't work. She has me there. Checkmate. It's okay, but refusing someone's invitation is rude. I'll expect you to make it up to me. There we go. Shizune turns around and smiles at Misha and starts signing something that I can't see. I assume it's along the lines of, it looks like it's just going to be the two of us. That's good. Is it? Is it good?